Hi everyone and welcome to your music lesson. So today is your last music lesson online and hopefully the next time you see me I will be in your classroom. So let's have a look at the PowerPoint and see what we're going to be getting up to today. So the first thing that we're going to do a listening activity. So we're going to listen to a section of a song and we're going to have some musical instruments in front of us and we're going to decide as a class which instruments we might have heard in that song. Okay. Then we're going to do some speedy rhythms. So we looked at rhythms last lesson. We looked at different types of notes. So we're going to go over that again. And then we're going to also clap along with those rhythms so that we can remember how many beats those rhythms and notes are. Then we're going to have a quick look at a notation song. So I briefly touched upon notation last lesson, and I basically just told you that notation just means the musical notes. So in order to read music, you've got to be able to understand what musical note is to be played on what particular key. So whether that's the piano key, whether it's the glockenspiels. So there's a way of understanding and reading musical notes and music in general. Then we're going to follow along to some music. So we're going to look at the notes, think about how many beats they're worth in order to play on our glockenspiels. And we're going to play along with Charanga and follow one of their songs. Okay, so we've got We Will Rock You. We should have all heard this song before. And we're going to listen to the song and see if we can pick out some of the instruments that we can hear. And then as a class, you're going to see if you can think about which ones were used. And then I will tell you which ones have been used and you can see if you're right. Okay, so have a listen to this song. Okay, so as a class now, I want you to pause this video and I want you to think about which instruments that you can see there on the screen have been used in that song. So pause the video now, decide as a class, and then we'll see if you're right. Okay, so the right answers are, starting with instruments, we had the drums, which came in straight away. We had the electric guitar and we heard it towards the end of that piece then. We also had the synthesizer. So a synthesizer looks a lot like a keyboard, but you can create any type of sound you want. Then we also had a male voice, so there was a male singer, but we also had backing singers as well. And then we also had some body percussion. We had some clapping and we had some stamping. So you should have got these ones right. If I submit my answer, we can see that they are all correct. So well done. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at those rhythms that we looked at last week. So we should have been able to remember that a crotchet looks like this and it is worth just one beat. And a way to remember it, that long sound, you can say T. So we've got T, 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 T. Okay, we're just going to speedily go through this a little bit. Then we've got quavers, and each of these notes are worth half a beat. So this is where we've got those short sounds, and a way to remember it was by saying coffee, coffee. Okay, so if we do this one together, 1, 2, 3, 4. Coffee, 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 coffee. Super. Okay, I'm going to introduce this one today. And this one is called a minim. And each minim, so each note, is worth 2 beats. So a way to say this out loud to help you keep that rhythm is by saying milk. But if you can see here I spelt milk by using quite a few L's, quite a few L's there, to try and pronounce the milk. So you're almost dragging out the way that you're saying it. You're slowing it down so that it would go milk, milk. So it's not a milk, because that would be worth 1 beat. This is worth 2 beats. So we need to slow down the milk so that it turns into 2 long beats. So we've got milk, milk. Okay. Let's have a quick speed through with these. So clapping, are we ready? We've got a coffee, tea, tea, tea. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's move on to these ones. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and we will stop there. Super. What we're going to do now, we're going to look at notation, and it's a little fun song, just a really good way to remember notes on a stave, okay? So let's have a look at this video.
I am E, and I live on the first line. Notes on the line, do the rhyme. I am G, and I live on the second line. Notes on the line, do the rhyme. I am B, and I live on the third line. Notes on the line, do the rhyme. I am D, and I live on the fourth line. Notes on the line, do the rhyme. I am F, and I live on the fifth line. Notes on the line, do the rhyme. With the notes that are on the line, J, E, and G, and B, E, F. With the notes that are on the line, J, E, and G, and B, E, F. Notation, 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 notation. On a line, a line, a line, a line, a line. Notation, 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 notation. On a line, a line, a line, a line, a line.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. Okay, so that's a really brief introduction to notation. So when you see a musical note on a specific line, that is telling you which note to play. So if I just share my screen, we can see here that we've got all of our notes on different lines. And it kept saying that you follow the rhyme. And this is a rhyme that I like to use. So every green bus drives fast. So as you can see, E for every is on the bottom line. Green is for the G note. B for bus is on the third row, the third line, sorry. D is on the fourth line, and on the fifth line we have got F. So every green bus drives fast. Okay, so now what we're going to do with our glockenspiels, we're going to play along to a piece of music on charanga. So the first thing that I want your teachers to do, I want them to decide which half of the classroom is going to be player 1 and which half is going to be player 2. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to follow the charanga video and we're going to play along with our glockenspiels. So the first thing that you need to do, your teacher is going to tell you which side of the room are going to be player 1 and which side of the room are going to be player 2. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do, we are going to look at the notes to figure out what we've got to play. So first of all, we can see we've got our musical stave here and we've got our musical notes both on that bottom line. Now, if we think back to that notation song, Can you remember what this note is? What letter, what note do I need to play here? So if you got that right, you should have said E, because if we remember that rhythm, every green bus drives fast. That's a good way how to remember which note we need to play. And they're both on the bottom line, which means that it's a lower pitch. The higher up the stave we get, the higher the pitch. So if you look at your glockenspiels now, you should be able to see in front of you, you've got two E's. This particular E that you're going to play is on the lower part of your glockenspiel. Okay, if you can see here at the side, it says 1 and 2. What we're going to do just to start off with, player 1, you are going to go first. So you're only going to play the staves where you can see the 1 next to them, because the 2 means it's player 2's turn. Okay, so first of all, we're just going to have player 1's playing it, then player 2's are going to have a go at their part, then we're going to see if we can put them together and do a duet and play all in unison, all together. Okay, let's have a listen to it first. This is just the intro. We'll be player 1 again. Okay, player 2, it is your turn now. And what you're going to do, you're going to follow your part, which will be highlighted. When you see this line here, though, this means that you're not going to play anything. You're going to rest, okay? So you're only playing when you can see your musical notes, and you're playing that same E key. Okay, are we ready? One, two, three, four. Okay, super. If you want to pause the video and go back to player 1 and have another go, and then go back to player 2 and have another try, then you can do. I'm going to move on now to the duet. So this is where you're both going to be playing together. So player 1 and player 2 are going to be doing this both together. Okay, so where it says 1, if you're player 1, you're playing this part. Player 2, you're playing this part. And when you see these, you are resting. You are not playing anything. One, two, three, four. Super. Okay, well done. So you should have now got used to identifying those different sounds and working out, those different notes, and working out what type of note it is, whether it's a crotchet, a quaver, or a minim, working out how many beats it's worth. And then we've just had a look really briefly this lesson at musical notes on a stave and working out what that particular note means, and then how we can then play it on our glockenspiels. So super well done, everyone, and I will see you next week.